Policy 55012, Salary Policy Statement. Georgia Military College adhere to the federal state of the pay equity mandate with a similar job for the Equity Institute for the developed job classification position grading the system. Thoroughly 10 of the full-time faculty will be classified as a professional position, part-time position, and not covered under the system. In line with the federal state mandate with the Georgia Military College, ensure the pay quality based solely upon experience. Job requirements and longevity of service and evaluation performance, May 17, 2022. Joe Robbins, Chief of Human Resource Officer. All right, Policy 1513, hire full-time, part-time employees. Policy statement: the Georgia Military College Office with Human Resource operates centralized share with a service model with as a result of the hiring profit provide with a centralized onboarding procedure with the Georgia Military adhere with the policy with equivalent equal opportunity with the and affirmative action, recruitment, selection, promotion, transfer with the demotion, termination of the employees, such with the institution initiative with all of the employment action with the basis for the qualifications, specific requirements of the job performance without regard for the race, color, sex, or the religion, with the nation, origin, age, disability with a veteran status. For the general with the policy with the 4006 with the GMC faculty handbook regarding faculty employment contracts. Full-time employees are employed with with a work of 30 hours or more a week with a have the defined with employment with a minimum term of 30 months, being 3 months with a longer part-time employee with the purpose of the policy 5013 with an employee with a work with a 20 hour an hour or less with a per week with a comply with affordable health care after the TRS eligible guidelines for the time and employee with a do not include with the federal work study with a student and bachelor with the tutors. Vacancy with the new vacancy with a curve of the new position created with a higher manager with a ministry with a promote with a transfer with the employee with a promote with the area with a role with a product promotion train with a be in award with a higher manager with a must work seek approval of the executive with the vice president with a recommendation chief of the human resource office. Positions that do not require the posting include but are not limited to reclassified position active with the intermittent employment with the intermittent position temporary position and or reassignment with the department of the chain with a classification prior to the position with the award with the promotion train for the review and improve with the college equal opportunity affirmation action office with the chief of the human resource officer. There's no internal candidate with a promoted transfer the vacancy. The posted advertised with the simultaneously both internally with the Georgia Military College and externally. When an employee is selected with the transfer, the promotion minimum 2 weeks notice with the expected with the prior with the transfer. All job advisors retired from the statement and statement of the Georgia Military College is equal to the opportunity affirmative of the action employer. All applicants must be submitted the application employment as specified with the post job vacancies. Faculty application must submit the current with the official with the transcript certification of the degree with the professional qualification of 3 letters for the reference chief of the human resource with the office and doors of each of the budget employment and office of the final approval of the president of the authority to approve the unfunded request of the related with the employment. Screening of the applicant with the human resource of the department of screen for the only though for the applicant with the means of least minimal job with requirements vacancy being filled with the firm in the pool and the qualified applicant with the candidate with their select with the interview. Upon conclusion of the interviews, they ask for the closing date with the vacancy with the pass at the same time with the conclusion of the interviews. No closing date with the listed with the posting with the job offer the man including made with a contingent upon successful completion of the reference check on the criminal background screening. Warning: applicants must be may be disqualified for the consideration employment of falsification, application information, criminal conviction, drug abuse, alcohol abuse of the applicant who is known to engage in behavior to violate community standards with the conduct that may also be disqualified from consideration. Former staff with involuntary terminated but not eligible to reemployment of the Georgia Military College. So to speak about hiring an employee should the application for the determined to have within falsified with the falsification may result of the disciplinary action officer with included termination employment should the application of the determined to have the falsified before the employer starts the date of the GMC falsification ground with the resigns for the employer officer May 17, 2022 with Jill Robbins of the Human Resource Officer. Policy 5014, telecommunication policy statement. The Georgia Military College policy for the GMC owned telecommunication with equipment services predominantly reserved with the conducting business institution and employ with the other use of the telecommunication bit part personal business during working hours permitted with as long with the infrequently designed free with the work with the serve with the legal harmless purpose. May 17, 2022, Yoda Yearbook Vice President of Information Technology. 5016, termination employment policy statement of the Georgia Military College at will employer at will to define according with the Georgia Supreme Court Georgia Power with the versus Bunsen with the 242 Georgia 612 at will means with the motive of the employer with the terminate with as well with the employer with the are legally immaterial because of the reason of the termination legally immaterial employer can relieve the end employee for any reason, no reason, good reason or bad reason. The reason behind the termination does not matter. Georgia employment law give the employer broad discretion deciding who will work with them. Termination impact on the pay of the benefit. The employer terminated for any reason shall not be paid with the official holidays, scheduled paid days off with the spring break with the Christmas break if they occur after the day of the termination. Accrued vacation with a compensatory time may be either the terminal leave. The employee may be compensated with accrued with the vacation with the compensatory time. Use sick pay leave will not be compensated. However, it may be credited to the retirement of the teacher's retirement system of Georgia. Any negative leave balance will be deducted with employee and final pay. Employees who wish to resign instead of terminating. Employees who wish to resign instead of the termination must submit the written resignation to the immediate supervisor to provide a copy of the Georgia Military College Chief of the Human Resource Officer. The employee will give notice in 2 weeks' notice unless shorter period applicable. Supervisor must indicate his or her approval of the resignation. Provide a copy of the approval of the Georgia Military College Chief of the Human Resource Officer. Georgia Military College with the reserve of the right to accept the review of the employee application for the resignation instead of the termination. Termination based on cause. The employee the immediate supervisor may dismiss the employee with his or her performance with the conduct with the same with the otherwise unsatisfactory. Employee will be counseled verbally with a written before the termination. Supervisor will maintain with the file with the documentation counsel in all instances for terminating employee. Supervisor will consult with the GMC with the chief financial officer with the notification. Employee will be informed of his or her termination rating. However, the Georgia Military College practice with such notification not limited to a simple statement of termination. Employment does not have the right to grieve termination. June 17, 2022, Joe Robbins, Human Resource Officer. 5017 Employee Dress Code Policy Statement of the Georgia Military College Policy will draft a manner with a present with a clean, well-groomed professional image appropriate with the job requirements. General, casual, institutional dress clothing displaying red and black institutional colors and logo permitted with the Fridays. Casual clothing is allowed with certain special work days by permission of the immediate supervisor with the proper drill of the military uniforms governed the regulation over the military job. The professional dress of casual work dress should not be an inappropriate reveal of the private body parts area with the undergarments, camouflage, hairstyle with the accessories should present with a professional image suitable for the employment. Attire which should not result in a distraction and another employee with a disruption of the work of the environment of the department. All employees should do his or her best for the judgment with a discretion with the appropriate with the attire with the appearance of the workplace with the final decision with regard to the appropriate employee with the attire with the appearance resolve of the administrator directly over the employee. Under no circumstances clothing portrait any of the depiction with explicit implied with the theme of the construe with the racial, the gender, sexuality, discriminatory and inappropriate violation. Georgia Military College harassment policy may result in discriminatory action, including termination. Guidelines dress are contained in the faculty and non-faculty handbook for the college catalog and student handbook. May 17, 2022. Joe Robbins, Chief of Human Resource Officer. 5018 Responsibility of the Georgia Military College faculty and staff of the working student with a policy statement of the Georgia Military Policy provide with the adequate supervision of student with a participation in institutional sponsored activities. Supervisor qualifications. The student supervisor may employ with the institution with an individual contracted with the institution performance share with the student with the activity required with the operation institutional equipment. Use of the institutional material with the supervisor must make with the equipment and material with the in working order and safely to use. Responsibility of the supervisor to provide guidance for the training with those staff of the faculty of the student with the participating in activity minimum standard care and for which with a spirited person with exercise. May 17, 2022 with the Dr. Susan, Chief of the Academic Officer with the team of the faculty. 5019 New Employee Orientation Policy Statement of the Georgia Military College Policy with the new employee with the receive the initial employment they orientate with the supervisor within the first week of their employment. General Human Capital Management Platform of Georgia Military College Paycom with a Paycom employee with expect with the review of the incomprehensive of the Georgia General College Policy. Their designated handbook faculty staff with the general institution orientation presentation during on board, and each new employee is expected to verify whether he or she with the appropriate manual with the complete with the policy page with the container with the red carpet with all verifications and routed with the complete with it on the board with the paperwork with the human resource management officer with the inclusion of the official personal file. New employees should complete with the job task related with the orientation and immediate with the supervisor during the first 90 days with the possibly beyond when they ensure with the proper training with the training should include with the not limited to job responsibility performance evaluation procedure with the salary benefit of the institutional mission for the purpose of the value for the employment of rights and sexual misconduct policy complaint process with the hazard material management and safety with the human resource with the Department of Facility institutional training throughout the year on the specific topic web-based platform during campus visit. Supervisor will document with the day for the participant with the new employee with the orientation for with the documentation for the human resource with the department. May 17, 2022. Joe Robbins, Chief Human Resource Officer. 5020 evaluation and management with the policy with the Georgia Military Military College Policy, GMC with administrative evaluated annually with administrative include with the evaluation age of the student superintendent of the preparatory school with the administrative of the college with the designated of the GMC College administrative officer of the organizational chart with the updated and only human resource of the chief of the administrative of the academic officer will evaluate the performance of the subordinate employee with the annually with the managers and employee with the staff of the appraisal form through the coordinated job performance strategic initiative of the college evaluation profit of each of the administrative of the officer for the evaluation of the president of the Georgia Military College profit the trustee of the evaluate the president of Georgia Military College at least only annually performance evaluation conducted with the executive decision of the designated regularly scheduled evaluation of the president of the director of the report president of the college with evaluate with the performance of the director of the reports ensure that his or her supervisor evaluates all of the other employment evaluation senior vice president of the direct report with the senior vice president annually evaluate all the other direct reports they annually ensure the supervisor evaluate all of their employees the evaluation profit the proceed with the review cycle with the communicated annually with the GMC officer with the human resource upon completion of the employee with the annual evaluation evaluated forward performance evaluated GMC officer with the human resource manager for the inclusion of the employee with the personnel files. Evaluation of full-time employee. Supervisor formally evaluate full-time employee at the end of the first 6 months of the employment, the conclusion over the fiscal year with the frequent evaluations recommended with the employee performance, less of satisfactory performance evaluation. This kind of maybe you with record performance counseling. August 4th, 2024, Jill Robbins, Chief of the Human Resource Officer, 5021, securing on the workplace, separated employees policy statement, the Georgia Military College policy, remember the employees separated for the employment of his or her workplaces will be secured with the general, with a separated employee, should be given the notice for the Sabbath, with his or her personal property, with the informed, with the designated agent, when they authorized, with the written consent of the agent, when they may request the access for the schedule, responsible time, location, transfer of such property with the institutional employee, with all the schedule such training for the trouble to confer with a written receipt with the inside item of the receipt with the supervisor of the authorized administrator of the institution at such time the institution will have access aid with the include with the officer with the key with the surrender all with the access with the automated with the institutional system denied failure to refuse return such an institutional access with the items which may be chargeable after the action with the warrant files and work with the product produced with the institution employed with during employment for the use of the institutional equipment and consider the property with the institution under no circumstances of the two information considered with the personal property with the employee such information remain with the property with the institution regardless of the main storage control location. If upon given a reasonable amount of the time and effort of the meet with the receiver, the person will determine that the employee will have it in possession with the say that items, Georgia Military College will mail the items with the last known address of the terminated employee with the will with the relinquished responsible involved with the safekeeping the items per property abandonment law regulation. May 17th, 2022, Jill Robbins for the Chief of the Human Resource Officer. 5022 for the Drug and Alcohol Abuse Prevention Policy Statement, Georgia Military Policy for the unlawful manufacture, purchase, for the distribution, for the dispense, for the possession, for the solicitation, being under the influence of any of the drug others, intoxication, including alcohol, for the Georgia Military compromises, for the during the working over the while performing the village business, including driving vehicles off campus and incorrectly prohibited behaviors. Following type of the behavior, the activity constituted with the employee with a violation, college drug, alcohol, with the abuse of prevention policy, for the resolve of the disciplinary officer, with the include with the termination, employee with the reporting work, with the detectable level of the alcohol control substance intoxication of other illegal substances in their system engaging authorized use alcohol with the illegal drug with the college premises with the include with the right meal with the rest break with the well conduct with the college business with the on and off camp with the head with the possession with the attempt with the distributed sale with the team with the manufacturer transfer the share receiving the alcohol with the control sub with the drug with the other substance with the share with the job perform with the pose with the hazards with the safety welfare with the employee with the student with the all with their in person with include with the drug paraphernalia alcohol containers on college premises include with the meal with the real rest breaks while conducting college business violation. Warning, violation of this foul with the result of the disciplinary action with the included immediate with the termination, denial with the employment, termination with the action with the property each of the case rests solely on the college, with the college may also with the report person within violation of the policy of the law enforcement authority for the college and told the discretion of the dean with the necessary with the property to do so with the employee with the expect with the cooperative with the college with the investigation possible with the violation policy with the according with the employee with the must refer with the knowing with the subject with the violation supervisor with the human and resource with the representing the other management personnel. As conditional employment with the college and all of the employees applicant with the employee must provide with the term of the policy with the copy with which is given and all of the employees applicant with the employment for employment employees for the convicted under the criminal drug statute with the violation occurring on or off college premises with must report with the conviction within 5 days after the conviction. Such reports must be made to the chief of the human resource officer failure to do so being resolved with a disciplinary action with including termination. Employee who said with the driving under the influence driving with the intoxicated law of the operating with the vehicle with the college business must inform that his or her last supervisor on the fact may result of the disciplinary action up including termination May 17, 2022 with Jill Robin, Chief of the Human Resource Officer. 5023 Drug Alcohol Testing Policy, City of Georgia Military College Policy with a job applicant with the applicant given an accreditation with the Office of the Employment of the Private commencing with employment of the college will swim with the drug alcohol testing warning. A confirmed test result will include the presence of the drug with the alcohol may result with the revocation of the job offer the extent of the stuff of the job act with the drug alcohol policy with the college with the include with the not limited alcohol with the legal drug with the controlled substance prescription with the weight for which the employee does not have the current valid legal prescription his or her name. Employee subject to the drug alcohol with the testing with the current employee with the coverage with the policy will be shown with the drug and alcohol with the testing under the following circumstances with a reasonable suspicion of the testing with the first call of the testing with the college with a reasonable suspicion employee some of the influence of the drug with the alcohol of the employee with the take with the drug with the alcohol test for the purpose of the policy reasonable suspicion of the means with the reasonable ground with respect to the employee with the possession under the influence of the drug or alcohol with the determination with a reasonable suspicion if the particular situation made with the department level of supervisors consolation human resource representatives an employee with the director with the take with the drug with the under the alcohol with the base of the reasonable suspicion with the relief of the duty of the transfer of the testing laboratory suspended without pay with the pending of the college proceed with the test result of the test result of the negative of the employee with the receipt of the back of the amount with the equal with the weight of the loss while suspended. A confirmed positive of the test result indicating the use of the drug and alcohol with reserve with an immediate termination. Post-incident testing. Employees involved with the shape of the incident of the near the miss of the incident of the which of the action of the employee may contribute to the factor of the cause of the must submit the post-incident of the testing pass or part of the investigation such as the incident shall be reported immediately to supervise the file with immediate reporting faculty. Post-incident testing of the drug and alcohol. Random testing. Employees may be subject to done and down with drug testing without individual suspicion violation. College substance abuse policy selection may be the neutral criteria. All of the employees eligible to testing will have an equal opportunity of being tested. Selection may be made with the basis of the department and job classification worksite with the other classifications. Refusal to submit with the testing. Employee with a refusal to submit with the drug testing will be considered with the insubordination of the ground with immediate termination for whether provide specimen that was adequate with the conduct with the drug with the alcohol with the test with the valid medical explanation as well with the attempt with the tamper with the otherwise falsify with the interfere with the testing properly equivalent with the refusal of the testing may result with immediate termination now with employment. Follow up with the testing with the return to work. Followed up test with the conduct of the employee with the return with the work with the following up with the positive alcohol with the test of the self with the disclosure with abuse and problem. The employee may have completed with the professional treatment with the substance abuse counsel with the file with the test and now with the test over the several months in order for the employee with the return maintain employment over the college file with the test may also last period of 60 months and 5 years based on the sole of the discretion Georgia Military College in order to ensure the safety and secure environment. Confirmation positive test. All positive tests subject with the secondary conformatory test with the employee with a notification positive test employee with the drug alcohol with the deemed positive with the employee with the notified with writing. For urine test, the employee have the right to retest with the samples and same sample at the same in another licensed laboratory. Employee with the request an independent test with the notified with the human resource with the writing within 15 days after the day with the employee forming the test rights with the charge within incurred with a retest of the employee expenses. Privacy. All information gathered the disclosure during the testing process will be kept confidential and no reference to employee with a rehabilitation medical condition with disabilities will be placed in an employee's personal file. An employee should be discovered the relevant and necessary with the information of the medical condition, legal drugs, use of the medical professional involved directly with the testing procedure, shall the information of the not be discovered with the college supervisors. Information gathered to discover during the testing process with the concern of the individual employee with the discovery with the need to know with the basis of the manager of the other personnel involved with the decision of the implementing decisions. Discipline. Confidential information will not discover any of their part without written with the consent of the employee with the extent of the pursuit of the administrative legal pursuit of the process with the extent of the period extent permitted with the required by law, equal counseling assistance, reasonability with each of the employee with the receipt of the counseling with the medical assistance, the alcohol with the drug abuse, problems with the violation of another college policy, justification of disciplinary action, employee decision, seek with the help of the volunteer with the not be used with the basis of the disciplinary action against the employee with the employee decision, seek assistance with the end of the policy with the consent of the voluntary only with the employee with the seek with the assistance with the prior to being asked with the take with the drug with the alcohol test and any request for the assistance. This is made after the employee has been asked for the test over the policy with no prevent employee with the being from the discharged for the violation of the college policy. Entering such a such a program will not provide the employee with the consequence of the substandard of the work performance of the policy violation. German Military College does not assume any financial or the other responsibility with the drug, alcohol, with the treatment, the rehabilitation program sought by an employee, outside of which of the officer with the benefit plan was selected with the employee protection with the employment of the absence of related substance abuse following the FMLA and ADA policy review, May 17, 2022, with Jill Robbins, Chief Human Resource Officer. 24 sick leave, the donation policy of the Georgia Military Policy with the employee with the wish is to train with a portion of the sick, his or her sick leave, may do so with a must and some of the acknowledgement statement with a waiver of the form with indicating the number of the day of the transfer. Generally, the purpose of the policy is to help voluntarily alleviate with another employee hardship because of the catastrophic illness, injury with the force with the employee with exalt with the all earned sick leave at the time of the place with the sick and injured employee with the risk of losing compensation. Employee receiving the donation eligible for the sick leave of the donation even with the balance of the 24-hour less of the use of vacation accrual as long as the employee has of the sick leave of the accrual of the donated sick leave that may be with the reason the FLMA of the meaning of the employment. Minimum amount of sick leave of the employment that may contribute to 1 day with the donating employment and retaining minimum of 5 days sick leave within the personal account with the 1 sick leave with the donated restored with the donating employee. Employee must designate a particular employee with the receiver of the donated time and any donation, sick leave time, leave with the voluntary college of the management with no other solicited employee with a donation, accrued sick leave time on the behalf of another employee. Confidentiality. The medical information involved with the sick leave of the donation remain with the confidential property under no circumstances will be shared or anyone else of the human resource except the legally required. No information will be given to those who donate sick leave time besides the information of the employee will accept the donate sees with the fit to disclose whatever he or she chooses. Exchange of the gifts. Under no circumstances permissive of the sick leave of the donated exchange for the remuneration, compensation, any form of gifts. Based on the needs 122, Joe Robbins, Chief Human Resource Officer.